All right, let's just jump right in, because what we're talking about today, it's not just climate control. This is way bigger. We're looking at a planetary scale engineering project so ambitious it feels like it's been pulled straight out of science fiction. We're going to talk about artificially rebuilding Earth's magnetic shield.
You know, this single sentence, written like a page from a future history book, it just sets the stage perfectly, doesn't it? It's announcing a moment where humanity's whole relationship with the planet changes. We're shifting from just being inhabitants to becoming architects. And this isn't some far-off dream. It's a vision of something we might actually need to do, and soon.
So what does this new dawn really look like? Well, it means we're reaching beyond our own atmosphere to beef up the very force field that keeps it safe. We're graduating from just managing our planet to actively defending it on a cosmic level.
And here's the big idea, the nuts and bolts of it. The plan is to stick a giant artificial magnet in a very, very specific spot in space to create a shield. It's an absolutely audacious attempt to take the controls to directly manage the physics that keep our world safe. So you have to ask yourself, why would we ever need to do something so drastic?
Well, that brings us to the really urgent part of this story, because our planet's natural shield, the magnetosphere, it's in trouble. What on Earth could be a threat so big that it forces us to build our own magnetic patch out in the cold of space?
The thing is, the warning signs are already here. There's this weak spot over the South Atlantic. Think of it like a growing pothole in our shield, and it's getting bigger. That's a real threat to our satellites, to our power grids. But even deeper, the dynamo at the Earth's core, the engine that powers our magnetic field, it's weakening. And that leaves our precious atmosphere exposed, vulnerable to being literally blasted away by the sun.
And this chart, it tells the story pretty clearly. This isn't some sudden crisis that just popped up. It's a steady and honestly kind of alarming decline. From what it used to be, our magnetosphere has weakened a lot, and the projections show it's just going to keep going. We are on a downward slope here, and just waiting around, it's not really an option.
And this just hammers home what's at stake. This magnetic field is our planet's #1 shield against deadly radiation from space. Without it, life as we know it, well, it wouldn't be possible. And with that shield failing, a radical solution suddenly becomes a matter of pure survival. Okay, so we've established the problem. And it's a big one. Now let's get to the solution. Let's talk about the L1 magnetic patch, an absolutely incredible piece of engineering designed to tackle this existential threat head-on.
Now, the secret to this entire plan is the location. Lagrange point 1, or L1, is this perfect little sweet spot in space, about 1.5 million kilometers away from us, right between the Earth and the Sun. At this one point, the gravity from both of them cancel each other out, so that means you can park something there and it just stays put. It becomes a permanent guardian.
And the way it works is actually kind of beautiful in its simplicity. Step 1. You put a giant, super powerful magnet at that L1 point. Step 2, you switch it on, creating a huge artificial magnetic field. And step 3, that field just deflects the harmful solar wind, pushing it aside like a rock diverts water in a stream. And here's the truly brilliant part. Because L1 is so far away from us, you don't need a magnetic field that's impossibly strong. Even a relatively small nudge to the solar wind at that distance gets amplified over space, creating this huge shadow of protection that covers the entire planet. It's planetary defense, but with incredible efficiency.
But get this, protecting Earth? That's only half the story. This exact same technology has a second, truly revolutionary purpose. This isn't just about defense, it's also about creation.
Just look at this comparison side by side. For us here on Earth, the magnetic patch is a shield, right? It's patching up our weakening defenses. But you take that same exact tech, that same design, and you put it at the L1 point for Mars, now it becomes a terraforming engine. And that's the core takeaway here. The incredible idea of one single solution solving two of humanity's biggest challenges, saving our home and building a new one.
So how does that even work on Mars? Well, Mars isn't totally dead, geologically speaking. It's still releasing gases from its interior. It's called outgassing. The big problem has always been that the solar wind just sweeps those gases away before they can build up. But with a magnetic shield in place, that stops. The atmosphere finally gets a chance to thicken on its own, jump-starting the whole process of maybe, just maybe, making Mars a second home.
Of course, you don't just whip up a project like this overnight. It needs some serious tech breakthroughs. First, new advances in something called plasma confinement let us create magnetic fields way more powerful than we ever could before. That's the engine. Second, you can't launch something this huge from Earth. It would have to be built in space by autonomous robots using materials mined from the moon or from asteroids. And finally, the design itself is smart. It can actually power up its defenses in real time if a big solar flare is coming, and then power back down.
All of this, it brings us to the final and maybe the most profound implication of this kind of technology. Wielding this much power, it fundamentally changes who we are and what our place in the universe really is.
I mean, really think about this shift for a second. For our entire history, we've basically been passengers on planet Earth, just along for the ride, subject to whatever the cosmos threw at us. With technology like this magnetic patch, we are grabbing the controls. We're becoming the active caretakers, not just for our own world, but for the potential for life somewhere else in our solar system.
This statement right here, it just captures the ultimate goal perfectly. It's like a declaration of independence from a fundamental cosmic threat. It paints a picture of a future where cosmic radiation isn't this big, scary thing we have to hide from, but it's just a solved problem. That's mastery over our environment on a scale we've never even imagined before.
And so, this is where we land. By figuring out how to shield one world and kickstart another, we've basically taken hold of the reins of planetary evolution itself. And that kind of power, wow, it comes with some immense responsibility. So the final question isn't really if we can do this, it's what are we going to choose to do with that power? What's next for a species that can build worlds?